Have you taken time to understand the realm of time? Time is something very crucial. Like, I literally tell people that time is more expensive than money. In fact, time is more value than money. People feel that it's all about how much you have in your account, but you should also consider how much time do you have, how much time do you use. Nobody can actually examine how much time they have on earth, but you can actually determine how much time you use in a day. I've stopped thinking about 24 hours in a day. I started thinking like every day for me is even worth more than 24 hours. Yes, I keep telling people that I don't consider 24 hours anymore. I think about something like 48 hours, even 100 hours in one day. And let me tell you how it's possible. When you begin to think radical, when you begin to think very deep, you actually be doing things that someone can do within an hour in just 2-3 minutes in a day. And it's because of the kind of motivations you have given to yourself, it's probably opens you up. It opens you up to a wider imagination. I'm going to be teaching you something that you can actually do if you truly want to become the best of the best. Best of the best in your business, best of the best in your craft, best of the best in whatever you want to, in your academics, best of the best. I want to tell you, during my secondary school, there's something that happened to me. I was actually trying to compete for the scholarship that our school do give to those who made first positions in class. My school will give scholarship that you cannot pay school fees for the next term for those who made good results in class. And then I started competing for that. I had a friend, Nathaniel, Glory, and so many other persons that they are very good. And I just see myself like, was I going to truly do this? Was I going to truly do this? Because I have never scored more than 10 positions in class. And they only give this to those who made first position. I had to consume myself in book. I started reading. In fact, school will close. I would stay back in the school, and I began to see other people do the same. I stayed back in school till 6:30, sometimes 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m. before I started walking home. And my mom noticed it, and some of the chores I normally do in the evening, she helps me to do some of them, and when I come back, I do the remaining one. I put that, and it becomes so part of me that everything about me began to change. I did not score the first position at the end, but I became a very better person. That's what you understanding the measurement of your time can offer you. You can actually become the best in your craft, best of the best. And I will be pointing out some key strategies, key points that you would use to becoming the best in your craft. You start a business today. I tell people that consistency is very good. When they say do something often and often and keep doing it, and it's going to yield a result. It's a very good one. But don't also forget that diversification is the key to wealth. Diversification is the key to wealth. When you are consistent, you need to diversify. You cannot tell someone who does POS to continue being consistent in sitting down in the same place, doing the same POS for years. You can't build a house. You can't even buy a car. You can't own your own. You can't make a tangible investment. That's the truth. But people who start POS business with the idea, in fact, I tell people also that vision is the most important key when you're beginning a journey. Vision. And when you have a vision, you see clearly. And where you can, just like as I'm sitting down here, I can see a wall, I can see my mentor on the wall, I can see my pictures, but I can tell you that this is what I can see here. But what my mind sees sitting down here is bigger than what I can see with my physical eye sitting here. That's vision. Because I can see a lot of things that my physical sight cannot look at. Where your physical sight stops seeing is where your vision began to reveal. Your vision is much more, in fact, a life without a vision is just like a man living without sight. You don't have a sight, you can't see. This one you see here is not the actual sight. The actual sight is the mind. The mind, how far your mind could go. Now, let me tell you why I say that you can become the best of the best through these criterions, this foundation we've just laid down. But there are some other key practical practices you need to put together, and we'll be discussing them in phase by phase. But today we're going to be talking about at least 3 of the key points. And number 1, I said you should think like a founder, don't think like an operator. People, I've met some persons that will come to do a business with you, and they come to you into your company, and the first thing that is in their mind that is they are working for you. You're not working for anybody. You're working for yourself. The moment you begin to think like you are the owner of the business, you would never become productive. People who make differences in the world are those who become crazy, wanting to make impacts that could be notable in it. And you cannot make great impact until you begin to think like you are the owner of that same business. How do you think like you are the owner? An owner of a business would always want his business to produce results. Now, if you work in an organization and you are based or you bask euphorias on immediate gratification, you want money, everything you want is just money, you would not make an impact because your countenance has already reduced you. It has already reduced your capacity. And that's just the way it works, because you now think about how to make little money without thinking about how to build a long-lasting career that would transform your own life. That's how people do it. You see, if you get into a business, think like this business belongs to me. The future of this business lies in my hand. You're taking on a very difficult, when I say difficult, in fact, you're taking in very strong task. You are taking in a very strong task. People run away from difficulties because they feel they don't have the energy to do it. And I will tell you that when you run away from difficulties, you run away from experience. You run away from challenges that could have made you better. That is the truth. So difficulties are made to shape you, not to destroy you. It is your mind that destroys you, not the difficult time. Because the difficult time will make you prepare you better for a better opportunity that you would use the experiences from the difficult time to solve better. That's how it works. So you should be ready to take on difficult tasks in your company, not just as an operator, but as a deep thinker, as a founder of the business. And that time, everything about you began to make more sense. It began to make more sense. Another factor that we should be talking about is what we call master strategic thinking. And I tell my team that a deep thinker, one who thinks deeper, is one who makes much greater things. You understand? So when you think deeper, it's an opportunity that offers you to understand the market dynamics. You understand the market dynamics, the power of law and values and value chain. You understand? These are the things that you're going to get. So I will be leaving us here. By the next week, we'll be discussing more on the keys of becoming the best of the best. But don't forget, you can achieve anything that you lay your minds upon. Shalom.